Our problem is 42 times 17. Let's start with an estimation. First, I want to round each number so that they are more friendly and a little bit easier to work with. 42 becomes 40 and 17 becomes 20. My estimate is 800. Next, let's use base 10 blocks to solve the problem. This axis represents the number 42, and this axis represents the number 17. 42 is represented with 4 tens, or 4 rods, and 2 ones, or units. 17 is represented with 1 rod and 7 units. Now I will start to fill in the grid so that each unit on the two axes is accounted for in order to create a complete rectangle. As I do this, I will also create a written record of my work. Similarly to how I created a grid with the base 10 blocks, I will draw a grid and complete the rectangle by hand. The sum of the number of units in the rectangle will be the product of 42 times 17. So let's see how many units we have and do some trading. Since 10 rods is equivalent to 1 flat, I can trade each set of 10 rods for a flat. In this case, I can do this 3 times. I can also trade 10 unit blocks for 1 rod. In this case, I can do this once. So I have 7 flats, 1 rod, and 4 unit blocks. This equals 714. Our written record acts in the same way. Just like I traded the rods in for flats, I can cross out each set of 10 on my grid and draw a square to replace them. I will do the same with my unit blocks and trade 10 of them in for 1 rod. Once the trading is complete, I can count the number of squares, rods, and units to find the answer. Like the blocks, I have 7 squares, 1 rectangle, and 4 X's. My written work verifies that the answer is 714. To further verify my answer, I can create a grid that breaks each number down into friendly numbers. 42 becomes 40 and 2, and 17 becomes 10 and 7. Now, I simply multiply each factor and add the product of each box together to get the total product of 42 by 17. Once again, I get 714. Lastly, let's use a split strategy to symbolically solve the equation. First, I will split each factor into friendly numbers. 42 will become 40 and 2, and 17 will become 7 and 10. I know that 40 times 10 is 400. Next, 40 must be multiplied by 7. I know that 7 times 4 is 28, so 40 times 7 is 280. Next, 2 must be multiplied by 10, which is 20, and then 2 must be multiplied by 7, which is 14. Then I add up the products from all 4 equations, and the sum is my answer. I know that 280 plus 20 is 300, so 400 plus 300 plus 14 equals 714.